The forgotten maintenance bay. The discovery. The Galactic Maintenance Station Orbital 7 had been abandoned for 40 years. Most species had written it off as a relic from a forgotten era. The station floated in the debris field of the Kessler Belt, surrounded by the wreckage of 1,000 failed civilizations. Nobody wanted to salvage it. Nobody cared about old technology anymore. The galaxy had moved on to newer, shinier things. Except for Marcus Webb. Marcus was human, which made him unusual in this part of space. Humans were rare outside their home systems. Most aliens thought humans were strange. They asked too many questions. They fixed things that were not broken. They refused to accept that something was impossible. Marcus was all of these things and more. He piloted his small salvage ship through the debris field carefully. His sensors pinged constantly, warning him about floating metal chunks and dead satellites. Marcus ignored most of the warnings. He had been doing this for 15 years. He knew how to fly through dangerous space. "Computer, scan that station again," Marcus said. His voice echoed in the empty cockpit. He lived alone, worked alone, and preferred it that way. The computer beeped. Station designated Orbital 7. Built by the Zenthari Collective approximately 270 years ago. Abandoned 41 years ago following economic collapse. Current value, negligible. "That's what they all say," Marcus muttered. He had learned long ago that what others called worthless often contained treasure. Not gold or jewels. Marcus did not care about those things. He looked for knowledge, for lost technology, for ideas that everyone else had forgotten. Inside the station. The airlock opened with a grinding sound. Rust and age had seized the mechanisms, but Marcus was patient. He used his tools carefully, gently coaxing the ancient machinery back to life. When the door finally opened, stale air rushed out. The station had been sealed for decades. Marcus stepped inside. His helmet light cut through the darkness. Dust floated everywhere, sparkling in the beam like tiny stars. The corridor stretched ahead, disappearing into blackness. Emergency lights flickered weakly, barely alive after all these years. Most salvagers would have turned back. The station looked dangerous. The hull was compromised in several places. Life support was clearly failing. The smart thing would be to leave, to find somewhere safer to explore. Marcus moved forward. He had studied Orbital 7 before coming here. The Zenthari Collective had been brilliant engineers. They built things to last, things that could survive anything. This station had been their greatest achievement, a place where ships from every species could dock, refuel, and repair. At its peak, over 50,000 beings lived and worked here. Then the Zenthari economy collapsed. Their government fell apart. The station was abandoned overnight. People fled, taking what they could carry. Everything else was left behind. Marcus walked through empty corridors, past abandoned shops and homes. He saw evidence of panic everywhere. Belongings scattered on the floor. Doors left open. Meals half-eaten on tables. It was like everyone had vanished in an instant. But Marcus was not interested in personal belongings. He was searching for something specific. The core. After 2 hours of exploration, Marcus found it. The station's central maintenance bay. This was where the Zenthari kept their most important equipment, their most valuable knowledge. The door was sealed, protected by security systems that still functioned after all these years. Marcus smiled. If the security still worked, that meant power still flowed. And if power still flowed, that meant the core was active. He sat down in front of the security panel. His fingers moved across his portable computer, running diagnostic programs he had written himself. The Zenthari security was good, but it was old. Marcus had studied their encryption methods. He knew their passwords, their backdoors, their weaknesses. It took 3 hours. The security system fought him every step of the way. But Marcus was more stubborn than any computer program. Finally, the door unlocked. It slid open slowly, revealing the chamber beyond. The maintenance bay was enormous. Machines lined the walls, thousands of them, all dormant but intact. In the center stood the core, a massive cylindrical structure that reached from floor to ceiling. Lights blinked on its surface, weak but steady. The core was alive. Marcus approached it carefully. His scanner showed readings that made his heart race. The core contained something impossible. Every alien species in the galaxy said it could not be done. The laws of physics forbade it. The energy requirements were too great. But the Zenthari had done it anyway. The core was a universal fabricator. It could create anything, absolutely anything, as long as it had raw materials and enough energy. Food, medicine, tools, weapons, even other machines. The Zenthari had built it to make their station self-sufficient. As long as the core functioned, the station could survive forever. Why did they leave you behind? Marcus whispered. He placed his hand on the core's surface. It was warm, humming with contained power. The message. As if answering his question, the core activated. Screens around the chamber lit up. A hologram appeared, showing a Zenthari engineer. She was tall and thin, with silver skin and large black eyes. She looked tired, desperate. If you are watching this, then you have found our greatest achievement, the hologram said. Her voice was translated by Marcus's computer. I am Senior Engineer Talvesh. I was the last person to leave Orbital 7. I sealed this chamber to protect the core. Marcus listened intently. Our civilization collapsed, Talvesh continued. Economic disaster. Political chaos. We had to evacuate. But the core, we could not take it with us. It is too large, too complex. So we left it here, hoping someone worthy would find it someday. The hologram flickered. The core still functions. It has enough power for another 1,000 years. But there is a problem. The station's hull is failing. In 5 years, maybe 10, the core will be exposed to space. It will be destroyed. Talvesh leaned closer to the camera. Whoever finds this message, please save the core. It represents everything we believed in. The idea that technology should serve everyone, that knowledge should be shared freely. Do not let it die with our civilization. The hologram vanished. The screens went dark. Marcus stood alone in the silent chamber. He made his decision in that moment. He would not salvage this station. He would not sell the core to the highest bidder. He would save it. He would make it work again. And he would prove that one human mechanic could do what entire civilizations thought impossible. The plan. Marcus spent the next week analyzing the station. He mapped every corridor, checked every system, calculated every risk. The situation was worse than he thought. The hull had multiple breaches. Life support was failing in 70% of the station. The reactor was running on backup power. Orbital 7 was dying. But Marcus was good at saving dying things. He started making lists. First, he needed materials. Metal, polymers, electronics, fuel. He needed enough supplies to repair an entire station. That would cost a fortune. Marcus did not have a fortune. He had exactly 4,000 credits in his account. Second, he needed help. One person could not repair a station this size. He would need engineers, welders, electricians, programmers. At least 20 people, working for months. Marcus did not know 20 people. He worked alone, always alone. Third, he needed time. 5 years before the core was exposed. Maybe less. Every day the station deteriorated further. Every day brought him closer to failure. Marcus sat in the maintenance bay, surrounded by impossible problems. Most people would have given up. Most people would have called it hopeless. Marcus started making calls. The impossible repair. Building the team. The first person Marcus called was Dr. Sarah Chin. She was a human xenoengineer, one of the few people in the galaxy who understood alien technology as well as Marcus did. They had worked together once, 5 years ago, on a project that almost killed them both. They had not spoken since. "Marcus?" Sarah's voice crackled through the communication system. "Is that really you?" "I need your help," Marcus said. He did not waste time with pleasantries. "I found something. Something important." He sent her the data on Orbital 7 and the core. He heard her breath catch as she reviewed the information. "That's impossible," Sarah whispered. "A universal fabricator? The Zen-3 actually built one?" "They did. And it still works. But the station is failing. I need to save it." "Marcus, do you understand how insane this sounds? You want to repair an entire station? By yourself?" "Not by myself. With you. And whoever else we can find." Sarah was quiet for a long time. Marcus waited. He knew she would help. Sarah could not resist a challenge any more than he could. "Okay," she finally said. "I'm in. But we need a team. A real team." Over the next month, Marcus and Sarah assembled the strangest crew in the galaxy. They found Crix, a Voltine shipwright who had been banned from his homeworld for experimental designs. They recruited twins named Jan and Jana, human engineers who specialized in life support systems. They hired Gordhak, a massive Cronin welder who could work in vacuum without protective gear. Each person brought unique skills. Each person had been rejected by mainstream society for being too unconventional, too experimental, too willing to try impossible things. They were misfits and outcasts. They were perfect. The first month. The work began immediately. Marcus divided the station into zones. Each team took responsibility for one zone. Their goal was simple: stop the deterioration. Seal the breaches. Restore life support. Keep the station alive long enough to attempt real repairs. It was brutal work. The station fought them every step of the way. Ancient systems failed without warning. Corridors that seemed safe suddenly decompressed. Equipment that appeared intact shattered when touched. The team worked 16-hour days, sleeping in shifts, living on recycled food from the core's emergency stores. But slowly, impossibly, they made progress. Crix figured out how to patch hull breaches using a polymer mixture he invented on the spot. Jan and Jana restored life support to 3 entire sections. Gordhak welded reinforcement beams throughout the station's critical areas. And Marcus worked on the core. Understanding the core. The universal fabricator was more complex than anything Marcus had ever encountered. It operated on principles that seemed to violate physics. It manipulated matter at the quantum level, rearranging atoms into any configuration desired. The energy requirements were astronomical. But the Zen-3 had solved every problem. They had built fusion reactors specifically designed to power the core. They had created quantum computers to manage the fabrication process. They had developed safety systems that prevented catastrophic failures. Marcus studied their designs obsessively. He spent every spare moment in the maintenance bay, learning how the core worked. Sarah helped when she could, but even she admitted the technology was beyond her expertise. How did they do it? Sarah asked one night. They were sitting in front of the core, eating their rations. How did the Zen-3 build something this advanced? They thought differently, Marcus said. Most species in the galaxy follow the same path. They develop technology incrementally, building on what came before. The Zen-3 took risks. They tried ideas that seemed crazy. Most of their experiments failed. But when they succeeded, they created miracles. Like humans, Sarah said quietly. Marcus nodded. Like humans. The crisis. Everything changed in the 3rd month. Gordhak was welding a support beam in Section 12 when the structure collapsed. The beam fell, crushing his left arm and pinning him against a wall. The section began decompressing. Air rushed out through a new breach in the hull. Jan and Jana responded immediately. They sealed the breach within minutes, saving Gordhak's life. But his arm was destroyed beyond repair. Even with the station's medical equipment, they could not save it. Gordhak would lose the arm. The team gathered in the medical bay. Gordhak lay on the examination table, sedated but conscious. His massive body barely fit on the bed. His right hand clenched and unclenched, expressing the pain his voice would not show. "I am sorry," Gordhak said. His voice was like grinding rocks. "I have failed the team." "You saved the station," Marcus said firmly. That beam was supporting a critical junction. If it had failed naturally, it would have caused a cascade collapse. "You prevented that. But now I cannot work. I cannot weld with one arm." Marcus looked at Sarah. They both had the same thought. "The core," Sarah said. "Can it fabricate biological tissue?" Marcus ran to the maintenance bay. He searched through the Zentheory database frantically. The core could create almost anything. Food, tools, basic medicines. But could it grow a new arm? Could it replace living tissue? He found his answer buried in research notes. The Zentheory had experimented with biological fabrication. They had succeeded in creating simple organisms, bacteria, and algae. But they had never attempted anything as complex as a limb. The process was theoretically possible but completely untested. Marcus ran back to the medical bay. "I can do it," he said breathlessly. "The core can fabricate a new arm. But I've never tried anything like this before. It might not work. It might kill him." Gordhak laughed. It was a terrible sound, full of pain and dark humor. "Then I die trying something impossible. That is a good death for a Cronin." The fabrication. Marcus spent 2 days preparing. He scanned Gordhak's remaining arm, creating a perfect digital model. He studied Cronin biology, learning how their muscles connected, how their nerves transmitted signals, how their bones grew. He programmed the core with specifications more complex than anything it had attempted before. The team gathered in the maintenance bay. Gordhak lay on a specialized platform Marcus had built. Medical monitors tracked every vital sign. Sarah stood ready with emergency equipment in case something went wrong. "Ready?" Marcus asked. Gordhak nodded. His eyes were calm. He had made peace with whatever happened next. Marcus activated the core. The chamber filled with light. Energy flowed from the core to the platform, surrounding Gordhak in a field of quantum particles. The fabrication began. It took 6 hours. The longest 6 hours of Marcus's life. He watched as matter assembled itself atom by atom. Bones grew first, calcium and minerals arranging themselves into Cronin bone structure. Then came muscles, tendons, nerves, blood vessels. Finally, skin formed, covering everything in Cronin's distinctive gray hide. When it finished, Gordhak had a new arm. Perfect, functional, alive. He flexed his new fingers experimentally. He made a fist. He touched his face, feeling the sensation travel up nerves that had not existed hours before. "I can feel," Gordhak whispered. He looked at Marcus with wonder. "It is real. It is mine." The team celebrated. They had done something no one thought possible. They had used alien technology to save a life, to create life. If they could do this, what else could they achieve? The final push. News of Gordhak's new arm spread across the galaxy. Scientists demanded to know how Marcus had done it. Corporations offered millions of credits for the fabrication technology. Governments sent delegations requesting access to the core. Marcus refused them all. The core belonged to everyone, just as the Zentheory had intended. He would not let it become a tool for profit or power. Instead, Marcus sent a message across all communication channels. Orbital 7 needs help. We are repairing a station that can create anything, that can help everyone. If you believe technology should serve all people, come join us. We need workers, supplies, support. Together we can save something worth saving. Hundreds answered the call. Ships arrived from across the galaxy carrying volunteers. Humans, Zenthari survivors, members of species Marcus had never encountered. They came because they believed in the dream. They came because one human mechanic had shown them it was possible. The work accelerated. With hundreds of workers, repairs that would have taken years were completed in months. The hull was sealed. Life support was restored. The reactor was upgraded. The station came alive again. The reopening. 1 year after Marcus first entered Orbital 7, the station reopened. 50,000 beings gathered for the ceremony. Representatives from every major species attended. Even governments that had opposed the project sent delegates. Marcus stood on the repaired observation deck, looking out at the assembled crowd. He felt uncomfortable with so much attention. He preferred working in quiet maintenance bays, solving problems nobody else noticed. Sarah stood beside him. "You did it," she said. "You saved the station." "We all did it," Marcus corrected. "I just started the work. But you showed everyone it was possible. That's the important thing. Humans always do that. We try impossible things. Sometimes we fail. But when we succeed, we change everything." The core hummed in the depths of the station, ready to create whatever was needed. Food for the hungry. Medicine for the sick. Tools for builders. Knowledge for those who sought it. The Zenthari dream lived again. Marcus smiled. He had found his purpose. Not in salvaging dead ships, but in bringing dead things back to life. In proving that nothing was truly worthless. That with enough determination, enough creativity, enough refusal to accept limitations, anything could be saved. The station thrived. The core created wonders. And at the center of it all, a human mechanic continued working in quiet maintenance bays, fixing things everyone else had forgotten. Because that was what humans did best.